The theme before the house this morning is spirituality for skeptics. In case you don't know what a skeptic is, just look around. We are them. Skeptic is someone who really needs and requires a self-authentication of what's presented to them. A skeptic engages the world and ideas and possibilities with a questioning attitude about the knowledge it presumes to reflect, the facts that are portrayed, the opinions and beliefs stated. I think a Unitarian Universalist is required to be a skeptic. And I think Unitarian Universalist ministers are required to be skeptic handlers. To be able to be a skeptic with the skeptics, to say, okay, you say this is right, now how come this is right? And I want to speak to the notion of spirituality a bit. Spirituality, when I came into the ministry in 1976, was a word I only heard in seminary. It was not present in the life of the congregations of Unitarian Universalists then. In the last 20 years, it has become the cutting edge. Spirituality, spirituality, spirituality. We have spirituality for Doonesbury. We have spirituality for the Big Bang Theory. We have spirituality regarding most every conceivable notion under the sun. Well, what does it mean? Spirituality goes to a very ancient word that had to do with the animating, the essential principle of life. The word spirit means the animating, the vital principle of man and animals. It is the stuff of existence. It is the God quotient. It is the life force. It is that energy that sparks us, that is a part of us. And when we see it and experience it in another, we do know it. That person has a good spirit. That person has a good soul. And we have the word that also is related to the word breath. It's the animating. Without breath, there's no life. So spirit is that which animates life. It gives it vitality. It represents its realness. It's the difference between death, life is spirit. And we say that the world and life is a spiritual thing ultimately. I think spirituality is the creation of a meaningful understanding and relationship with the life's force. It is participation in the real. Spirituality, this working on getting in relationship with that which is essential, that which is vital, involves openness to the rhythms of life, the wonder, the patterns of existence. And as skeptics, we're called to look at beyond our knowledge, beyond our reason a little bit, not leave it behind, but understand that different people need different ways and different procedures to find that special place, to be at home in life, to be energized by that which is ultimately real that gives us life. There have been a lot of speculation. There have been a lot of authorities. There have been a lot of gurus who will go around and say, I will teach you this method and you will resolve the issues of your life. You will become a more healthy person. You will be centered in your existence. You will move beyond the brokenness of life to be healed, and you will be one with creation. I don't think it's that easy. I think it's called the spiritual practice for the point that we try and we try and we try. And we look for those opportunities in our own ways, for our own skills, the things that sort of resonate with us that will work for us to use. I like music. I like art. I find those moments that move me outside of my head to feel something as spiritual moments. Now that can be real cheap. That can be real easy. I mean, anything. The walk on the beach. You know, I'm spiritually touched by a walk on the beach. No, that's just a nice day in the sun, okay? The real stuff of life is being in the surgery room dealing with a patient who just came out and is wondering if they've got an existence left. The real stuff of life is in the hard places, and that's where spiritual health comes and presents itself, in the hard places of our lives. Spirituality, there's the cliche, one of my colleagues writes about the worst thing that she can think of is being on a plane trapped by someone in an inside seat, and they learn that she's a minister and they won't explain how they're spiritual without being religious. Work on that. I've been there a couple of times. And you just do a whole lot of grunting and shaking your head. Because basically you want to say to them, well, being spiritual is basically narcissistic. You just finding your connection with the global conscious, the global energy, the universal power, and you're getting to heaven on your own. And you're going to feel good about that, and you're going to be able to lay down at night and be caught in that rapture. Spirituality is more than that. Spirituality is about the heart. It's about experience. It's personal. It's a search for peace and power, but it's more than that. Religion is about the head primarily. Most of the times we come from it from a learning aspect of it, to look at the history, look at the creeds, look at the why these things came about, why these teachings about God, and most of us can't say that we've had an experience with that which is other. We've had it, but it doesn't fit anything that most folks will describe it for us, because it's a borrowed knowledge. Spirituality is a genuine, essential, personal connection with that which is eternal, and each of us can try to speak to it on our own. But we know it. I saw it in the life and birth of my children. I saw it in Amos's face the first time I saw him. I saw it in Adam's forehead when he had that little IV in there that we had to keep him in the special nursery for 2 weeks because he was born premature. In those moments of dread and struggle and fear and just basic joy, spirituality plays a part. It's not in feeling good. It's not organism. It's not an organ, or what's my word? What happens? Well, anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Just feeling good. It's more than feeling good. It's feeling real. It's feeling a part of the wonder and mystery that we are. Skeptics are those who want to know what that looks like. Well, what gives you true pleasure? What gives you true sense of worth? What gives you a true down to the heels of your feet understanding that you're at one with life? You have many of those occasions? Those are hard to come by. We find them, as I say, in music sometime, in great art, in someone genuinely caring about us and holding us, someone who looks at us and says, I like you and I trust you and I believe in you. Those special moments where we get outside of ourselves, beyond our boundaries, beyond our walls, to feel vulnerable are the times that we're truly connected. In our vulnerability comes an opportunity and a door for us to be at one, facing death, facing loss. It's there for us. We're not going to hide from it. We're not going to give glib words from it. We're not going to give a God to excuse the pain. We're going to be in the pain, experiencing it as the truth of life. We're spoiled as human beings. We expect things to be nice and good. We should have been tipped when we were born that it took, 2 people at least, and a lot more sometimes, to just keep us alive till we're about 6, right? Those first few years, we tried to kill ourselves. With our food, we couldn't change ourselves. We would have died of some kind of bacteria if we hadn't had people taking care of us. We're messy animals. We are born inherently dependent on one another. If we're smart and wise and loving, we learn a creative interdependence, where we become part of the solution of our lives, part of the acting out of what it takes to be alive in a healthy relationship. In our families, in our broader community, in this family, in our larger workplace. Spirituality is our awareness and our ability to be at home in ourselves, open to the rhythms of life that run through us. Not blocked by some expectation, not blocked by some fear, not blocked by some hate or dread. To be open to the wonder is an invitation to be filled with the wonder. To be about a life that is responsive and receptive to the rhythms of nature. I don't move as fast as I did. I was sick last week. It took me more days to get sort of over that than it would happen 40 years ago. I have a second-hand heart. You have your own stories of what you've overcome. But look where we are today. We're still conscious. We still have memories. We still have recognitions of the pains that we carry that we'll never really overcome, but that we can sometimes understand those pains as representatives of loves and gifts that we have experienced. The pain is the first thing that happens because we've been denied something. And a part of that pain usually has to do with the fact that someone we cared about and loved had to experience something and we couldn't help them. A lot of our pain comes from our helplessness. A lot of our dread and a lot of our struggles with life come from the fact that we don't know what to do. We don't know how to make it better. We are healing, compassionate people. We do not like hurt. We do not like the world out of sorts. We do not like the idea of violence and hate being present in the land. But somehow it's there. And somehow we have to embrace it and be in the midst of it to try to understand it, to change it. And I'm not saying we could have courage in a bad situation, but I think we have to trust ourselves possibly that will happen. Because I don't expect a God to save us or a Savior to bring us the truth, to lift us up and bless us and make us nice. It's our job. It's the job of skeptics to look at those who sell cheap snake oil solutions, those who sell gain without pain, those who come to us with some kind of understanding of, if you just do this, it'll be okay. Know that all of life is a job. It's a working out of ourselves of the problems we encounter. But no, look what we've got. Those dratted grandkids of ours brought Peg and I the plague, okay? Well, that's the cost of grandkids. And that's a good illustration right there. All of life brings us stuff. It gives us something too. And sometimes we can't handle it. It may be a bacteria, but also maybe a feeling. It might be a hurt. It might be an experience of ourselves that we didn't know we put out. See, we're living as sort of fragile human beings trying to be brave. Doak's theory is we're all 13 years old just trying to pretend to be adults. And some of us pull it off better than others. But in the effort to be a human being, the spiritual activity is a recognition and an intentionality to really get past what's in the way and find what's essential. What is essential? Someone who cares about you and will listen to you. Your own self-regard for yourself, trusting yourself to be able to cope with situations, to be in a presence of someone important and someone who cares, and not be frightened by it, to find the courage to say goodbye when death or estrangement comes, to find the courage to find new skills, to be about the wonder of creation again. I have this notion that scientists are informed by a need for observation, and they're informed by observing how life works, and they come up with theories, and they come up with wonderful tools of how to make life better through observation. The mystic, the writer, deals with life through imagination, and their creativity comes from what if, and they spin stories, and they do images, and they share for us ideas in different forms that help us understand we're okay. This morning, Aaron's story was delightful. 4 different concepts of God. What is God anyway? I tried to talk about it last week. I may have made some effort. But God is that essential pulse in the universe that nobody can define. Well, maybe spirituality is us trying to get in touch with that pulse and be at home with it. But know for our personal experiences, we've got a finite amount of time to be in that presence, to be about that. Now, if we're going to fool around being drugged by it half the time, being in hate and greed motivations, then we're missing the joy and the beauty of life. Because the joy and beauty of life is found in how we engage and see the beauty of life. Imagination. Imagine if all of us could get along. Science, observing how we all can get along. How through science we can make better agriculture, how we can feed ourselves, how we can manage population, how we can manage our world better. Imagination, how come? For what purpose? So people can be truly themselves, be safe, secure, and express the joy that is in life. Spirituality is an opportunity to expand and extend our souls, to grow in strength and joy about being alive, to be one with the creative force that moves through us, and have that as a testimony and a benediction for our being. Each of us are given different skills. Each of us are given different experiences. We've engaged things differently. Some of us have different wounds from others. We've been abused. We've been neglected. We have been lost. But we don't have to be. We have friends around us. We have ideals that can motivate us. We can know that we are of the universe. This stuff all around us is manifest in Doak, Mansfield, and it's manifest in you. It's just by some kind of wonderful chemistry, some kind of imaginative power. It is able to verbalize, it is able to reproduce, it is able to create, it is able to spin a tale for you that helps you and me understand what it means to be alive. The wonder of life, the gift of spirituality, is awareness of a relationship that cannot die. It is eternal and is moved through life from the beginning and will move on. And we're a part of it. Doak, Mansfield may be gone one of these days, but the magic that I was never will be gone. It will never be gone. Just reconstituted. No, you don't get any. It's all done by, somewhere else. I'm going to quit now, but you got the idea. Spirituality for skeptics is pushing the assumptions to the wall, seeing what's in it for you. What does it mean to you? How do you get in touch with what's essentially you? Is it found in music? Is it reading? Is it yoga exercises? Is it meditation? Is it walking? But only to the point of you finding out where you are so you can extend yourselves to be with others. Because spirituality beside itself is narcissism. Religion by itself is slavery. Somewhere between the two, there comes together a democracy where we can create liberty and freedom within the context of community for justice and compassion. And where those two things come together, the blessedness of life is possible. It's my hope. We'll see how it goes. We're still working on it. Amen. Be good to yourselves this week. Please stay for our social hour and visit a while. There are always opportunities for us to deepen and strengthen our ability to grasp the wonder of the world. And it doesn't come in big ways sometimes. Sometimes it comes in gentle and small ways. It comes in opportunity of just really noticing. It's said of Buddha, one of his last lessons to his followers was to stay awake, be aware. And in that awareness, I think you'll relate not so much in your differences, but how you understand and regard that which is other. Our celebration ends, our service begins, and let's keep it real, okay?